I don't, and it's weird. The grass is always greener, right? Like you're doing a gig out here, somebody will talk to you, and oh man, and I had a guy back in the day when I was over there with Rob and Casey, picking my brain, and he's like, yeah, I'm a performer. What's this like? How do you get paid? Da, da, da. About the hat, how that's different. What's the audience vibe like? I said, what do you do? He's like, I'm on cruise ships. Like, oh, well, what's that like? And we're both started thinking that the other one had the better gig. And at the end of the day, I thought I had the better gig. I'm like, because this has that aspect of like, because your stage persona, correct me if I'm wrong, Thom Bedlam.
Yeah.
Real name Thom Barnett, like the bank.
Yep. Yeah.
You're not getting that bank money.
No. Distant relative at best.
Your stage persona is rough around the edges because you depict yourself as a pirate.
Yep.
And you depict yourself. You do a great accent. You do a great character because a lot of people do that kind of. I don't know how long you've been doing it. Whether you did it before the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, but ever since then, there's been an outburst of performers that do a pirate character. Often it is a magic show. So how long have you been doing it as that character?
Since shortly after Pirates of the Caribbean came out, I was asked by Meeting Planners International if I could MC an event as Jack Sparrow.
Oh, okay.
So I developed the character over some months.
Okay.
That I had time to get ready for this, and then knock it out of the park. And I had so much fun, and just getting all the physicality and everything in. And then Bedlam kind of took off from there because I didn't want to be Sparrow.
What were you doing before then? How did that person know to call you?
I worked a lot in, I used to be on television all the time in Canada and more corporate event things.
As a magician?
As a magician. Did like the Armed Forces tours and all kinds of stuff. Worked for Hilton, worked for, just all kinds of, a lot of corporate presence. I was a Sharp guy before Sharp kind of went south,
Sharp guy?
Sharp as in like the Sharp Zorus before BlackBerry came along and all that kind of stuff. So there was all kinds of corporations that I was heavily involved in, and I just got to a point where I felt burned out and stagnated.
Yeah.
And then,
and your look was different than it is now?
Tuxedos.
Clean cut and everything?
Well, always had no beard at the time, but that was before I'd gotten the scar from wrestling alligators. So.
Well, okay, what?
Yeah, no, I used to wrestle alligators with a circus too, and it's been. I've had a very, that was after I left the military because I was officer in the Canadian Infantry.
Okay.
And it's been a.
That must have been down here, as I think alligators are thick on the ground in Toronto.
Well, I did like I made the front page of the Kansas City Star for the sports show there, but I mostly wrestled with a Mexican circus called Circo Manasuárez, and I was through Venezuela and Dominican Republic and various places traveling around with this circus.
What was that like?
It was fucking brilliant.
How old were you then?
28, 29.
It's you were young and vital. You're all over the country.
Yeah, but it was funny because I was already part of a Lion and Tiger act with a company, Sal Murillo's Unique Entertainment out of Vegas.
Okay.
And at that point, I was also doing. It was an Indian act actually, because
Native
Mark
American
Stevens,
or Indian.
Native
country?
American.
Native American.
Mark Stevens was Lakota at Sioux.
Oh, okay.
But I was an incredible archer, and I used to have to put an arrow right there off his neck. And we did this televised all over the place.
Wow.
And he'd do an arrow catch, but I had to put this.
So that he could catch it.
So he could catch it, but that's where I had to put it, because if and it was, oh my God, it was always, am I gonna miss? Because it's just a draw bow.
It's gonna kill him.
But now when we see people like, God, I've lost his name now because he's not here now. That guy that could bullseye walking away.
He was the archer guy.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name either, but he was amazing.
But it's been a hell of a career.
Don't worry about that.
Well, I wanted to show you the although you may, I don't know how much time we have today, but yeah, that's me out of the Kansas City Star photo.
Put that right up there. You look like, I can't remember his name, but you look like the guy that used to sing for the Tubes. Fee Waybill.
Okay.
Remember the Tubes? Are they Canadian? I thought they were Canadian. That's amazing. So you've had quite the colorful life.
It's been interesting. It's been interesting. I mean, I've also, you know, with knighting, I've placed top 5 in the worlds in Estes Park twice.
That's amazing. So you can ride horses. You're an equestrian.
Yeah.
You are a alligator. Is there a name for alligator wrestler?
Alligator wrestler. You know,
is there a convention you all know each other?
Well, we get together at all
culture.
things like Estes Park
What is
in
that?
Colorado. It's and that's where like Shane Adams and Charlie Andrews and that all get together.
Doing a lot of name dropping
and just beat the hell out of each other. So in it, there's games and there's light joust and there's heavy joust. So it's.
So you moved in. Okay, so you're in the military. You go on the road with the Mexican circus. You toured all over South America. You did the Indian act. You had to shoot an arrow so a guy could catch it without killing him. You never killed him.
No, he's still around. He's still around, I think. I haven't talked to him.
And now we're moving into Thom as a magician, yeah? Or was there always magic?
I've been doing magic since I was like 8 years old.
So you got the bug early.
It's 52 years in another week, you know.
Oh,
so,
congratulations.
Yeah.
I got the kid. I did you get one of the kits that they sold on TV? Sure.
Something went
What was his
wrong with
name?
my legs. And I was stuck. My legs wouldn't move for like almost 2 weeks.
Okay.
And my grandma came over and was always putting Maynard's horse liniment on my legs to try to get the cramping out of them.
Okay.
I think my parents eventually had explained it to school as a Charlie horse, but nobody really knew at the time what the frick was going on.
Right.
My grandma brought me a magic kit.
Oh.
And so that was...
What was the name of the guy that used to sell those in America?
Oh God, there was a bunch, but Mark Wilson had a bunch of
Mark
things.
Wilson. I met him.
Yeah. Oh wow, okay.
A friend of mine was buying a big prop from him, and I own a pickup truck, so great, hey Brian, I need your pickup truck. And I just shook his hand, and I remembered the name, and of course he's the guy that put, as you know, but for the people watching, he was responsible for putting a lot of magic acts in lower level theme parks throughout the 70s and 80s.
Oh yeah.
So if you went to Six Flags,
yeah,
there was like a licensed act. They would hire a guy who didn't even, I don't know why I gestured at you, you are a magician, but apparently they would hire a guy, and if you have any insight of this, let me know, who didn't even need to be a magician, just had to be the good look, because there was mostly illusions, which you know and I know, and sleight of hand, that's where the talent is. Nothing wrong if you're an illusionist, but if you buy an illusion, you buy an illusion and perform an illusion, but you're doing a classic awesome card trick, that takes some skill. So they would hire people just to plug into these magic acts around the country.
That's Franz Harari, and I don't know if you, at one point when Copperfield was doing all these specials, Franz Harari was doing these specials where he'd have like a car racing at him, drive right through him, and all of a sudden he's shown driving the car. I mean, that was probably the biggest, but he worked with Michael Jackson on Thriller and a lot of things. He was Michael Jackson's magician for a lot of their effects.
Okay.
But he ran a whole pile, and probably still does, a whole pile of magic shows throughout, like Macau and most Southeast Asia.
And you work
he'll
with
do, actually just good friends, but he'll bring in entertainers that are not necessarily magicians to play the part as well, and then teach them. And it's
For the people that haven't seen you, I've always admired, and we talked a lot at one of those, we were at a pirate gig together where we chatted quite a bit. Your rap with your audience is really good.
Thank you.
First of all, your accent is good. You, as you said, you were doing a straight up Johnny Depp impersonation, but then it evolved into this guy who isn't really the same, is not.
No,
there's certainly
I
similarities.
can't be. That'd be piracy. Yeah.
Were you happy that you were able to?
I know.
I set you up for that.
I've been waiting for that segue. God, when is he gonna say it?
You have a lot of very casual conversation. Of course, you know that's my bread and butter too. But what's great about when you're doing it, and for the people who don't know, Thom will be in a lane at a Ren fair. So, do you ever do up on stage shows?
There's some fairs, like when I'm
Oh.
in Avalon, I'm doing stage shows
Okay.
there. But I prefer the lane.
The intimacy of it.
Because there's some
Really
things
nice.
you cannot do and can't come across with the great distance.
Right.
And so if I'm right there and, 40 people, 50 people, that's perfect.
Perfect.
Because you've got the energy of crowd and yet everybody's got good visibility
Right.
because this is happening right under your nose.
Yeah, and so the years of the material, I've watched you a few times, and I've seen you repeat yourself sometimes, but not much. You seem to have a lot of little asides and jokes and things over years and years of being in the Mexican circus, I assume. Yeah.
It's a different language, but
But you know what I mean. and the alligator wrestling, just in general, you've cultivated this nice culture at your sets. When I've walked by and watched, I haven't done it yet this year because it's too damn hot. But I've always enjoyed that you have the aside and the little joke you can drop in, and a lot of improv too. Yeah.
well, I live off of the audience.
And you're good with
if the
people.
audience isn't feeding me, well, I can't say anymore that the shows aren't good. I'll come off of stage going, God, that sucked because I wasn't getting the play. And other people will come up to me afterwards going, that was amazing.
Right.
But in my
Gotta be
own
careful.
head now, it's like, God, that was just
Yeah.
not one of the shows that's ever
Yeah.
going to be wanted to be remembered again.
I've been, and we all struggle with that. And it's like, and then you were great, and then I think that no, they're wrong.
Yeah.
They're a bad judge of art.
Yeah, you don't know crap.
You're an
Let me
idiot.
show you how bad that show was.
Or come back and I'll show you a good one. But either way, I don't respect your opinion.
And that's the thing is, for a really good show.
Don't even stop the story. Don't even stop, just keep going.
There's random people
But,
coming by and hugging him.
But that's the thing, you got to have that. There's got to be an empathy before, and so you've got to be empathetic for what the person thinks about your show afterwards.
Okay.
But I'm looking for the empathy so I can personalize the show to them.
Okay.
And that's why also, as the show runs on, I've got less and less of me left because I'm just throwing my
Yeah.
spirit into these people and hoping to getting a real true response back. And so I'm relishing that one more weekend here. Then I've got a weekend off before 5 more weekends, but
Okay.
then I'm going to go into a coma, and because I'm very,
A planned call?
I'm a wallflower when I'm not
Yeah.
doing the stuff. I
Yeah.
just disappear.
I can believe
It's,
that. I'm similar in some ways. Now, as a magician, angles matter.
Yep.
Sleight of hand, which you're very, very good at. Is it? How do you manage that? How do you do a cups and balls routine?
If I know
Without
where
giving
the
away
people
magic
are,
secrets, okay.
If I know where the people are, I can really I can do almost a full circle without giving anything away, and even put my body where I need to put it and wherever. It's still better for people's experience if they're catching the front. But a lot of people like to come around behind. I'll often challenge that by going, hey mate, the stuff that comes out of the back of me is nowhere near as nice as what comes out the front. It's crap either way, but I mean, it's a better show. So I'll address it, but at the same time, because I'm aware of what's going on, I can shade things.
Sure.
Some effects I can't, but most of the cards that I do, I can do surrounded. Most of the cups now, I can do pretty much surrounded. I've got like a 10% angle that I'm vulnerable on, and I can have people everywhere. It's,
Do you find that audiences, and I've asked this, I think of every magician, I think I interviewed Chris and now you, so I'm always curious about it. I do like one little magic effect with a card, but it's mostly a comedy routine, and your stuff is also mostly comedic, even though the effects are great. Do you find that audiences, how often do you come across that guy, it's usually a guy, right, who wants to not be fooled and thinks that you're something to figure out rather than just giving himself over to you as an artist?
It's been a huge thing, and because I
Don't get
used to
that
be
as
a
a juggler.
tuxedo magician and acted slick, I found a lot more people were challenged by it, and I was making them feel foolish. So
It might have
with
just been their
Bedlam,
personality.
but there's still an aspect.
I'm just joking.
No. But there's the thing. There is an aspect. I found a way so people never, or incredibly rarely now, give me that challenge.
Yeah.
I put out as Bedlam, I'm the idiot in the room here.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So there's no challenge. People stop being challenged and now they can just
a good
enjoy.
time, yeah.
And as a result, I probably get away with murder that most magicians wouldn't, because people aren't burning me the same way, because they
Right.
just
There's
they
that term,
relax.
burning. Right. I've heard that from other magicians.
Oh yeah, I mean, people are. I'm not going to look. I'm not going to look at your face. I'm just going to
Yeah, I'm
look
just
at
going
your
to focus.
hands.
They think you're something to solve,
Indeed,
which is
indeed.
unfun.
Well, I mean, even in magic itself, fun isn't the same. People aren't generally going to laugh at being astounded. When they're astounded, their response is jaw drop
Right.
and processing.
Right.
And you got to give them a little bit of time for that. But that's why I make so many jokes about, God, it's like trying to entertain Helen Keller, or, you know, it's like a Walking Dead episode. If you guys came here looking for brains, you're going to starve. You know, just
I love how easy you slide into the accent.
well, I've got hooks when I'm wearing a costume too that remind me of my character unconsciously.
Right.
And then I'm always in it, and as soon as I take the costume off, I
Yeah.
generally step out and find my real voice again.
Yeah. I think that I've always found that there's people that we're going to wrap up pretty soon here, but I've always found that people that can get jokes to land that in some ways have more impact with a joke is a stand-up comedian, sure, but when it's not expected. So magic, when somebody's astounded and they go, "Oh my God, why? How did that orange get in that cup?" And then you follow with the joke. That joke's going to land much harder.
Yes.
Like politicians, like when the president's up there talking and they'll do like a joke, doesn't matter, even any president, it's going to get a bigger impact because you don't expect it from him. And same with you or any magician. You astounded them with your cups and balls, and then now that they're into that I guess, is it like a sensitive mode? Are they very empathetic at that moment? And then so the
Guard is
joke works
dropped.
better? Guard is dropped.
Guard is dropped. You know, you got him with the jab, and now you can do the uppercut.
Yeah.
You know?
And which is more fun for you? Getting a laugh or getting the jaw drop? Be honest.
What I love the most is the wonder. I would love to find some way of measuring people's creativity, because I believe I hate the magicians that give away secrets because they rob the audience.
Yeah.
The reason why I say that is that if you give it, when somebody doesn't know an answer, the brain is active as hell, and they'll come up with answers.
Yeah.
I mean, there used to be one way to cut a lady in half and involve the hospital, but now there's hundreds of ways you can buy, because when people don't know, everything's possible, and so you become more inventive. I wish I had a way to be able to prove that, but I see people come up with stuff. I've even had people come up to me after a show and go, "I know what you did there," and they'll lay it out, and I go, "No, but I'm gonna. That's bloody brilliant." and they've literally gone somewhere because we imagine from what we know. We combine. We only create from things we know and reassembling them. And so if you give it an incentive for people to go, it combines this unique knowledge in a way that can be incredibly creative.
And rewarding to the brain. The synapses firing off, the
Exactly.
dopamine rush you get from it probably.
And
So the people giving away tricks are robbing, you're right, they're robbing people of that.
because
of
the
that
brain
fan.
flat, oh, that's how it's done.
Yeah, I've seen this. And then your
Yeah.
jokes have to be twice as good.
Yeah, exactly. And you know,
I've been
Yeah.
wrapping up every one of these interviews, Tom, with the same question. I did actually forget it a few times. I might have to do it again because I myself I work through anxiety and depression, medication and therapy. My audience knows that. I'm not asking you to divulge anything like that on yourself. But is there a moment in your performing day where you can touchstone and go, I have a lot of joy? Is there a joke? Is there a routine? Is there a response? Is a magic trick in your world that just brings you a huge amount of joy, even if only just for a moment? One that you look, I'm coming up to that part of the show, and oh my God, I love this part of the show because of bam.
cups
And if
is
so, what is it?
probably my favorite.
Cups and balls.
Cups and balls, and I'm actually, you know, thrown away around by the president of the Society of American Magicians and IBM and all, that I'm one of the top 5 in the world at it.
Good for you.
So
It's a
there is
classic
some
of magic.
pride in that.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
and when the cannonballs come out, people are just going, and it's, and my chiropractor loves me doing that trick because it's really heavy, but at the same time, I wrestle with depression, and depression runs in my family and just genetically.
Sure.
but getting people to that laugh and release and
On that
relief.
routine is specifically.
All of it.
Oh,
That's
all.
one of the only reasons why I do magic. My only drive is, again, I'm an introvert, but how do I serve the general public? I want, if I can give them some relief and give them a brighter day, my day's so much better for it. I come from serving your fellow man or
Very nice,
humankind.
I'm going to do this on the screen right now, and this lets me know in the editing process we're about to talk about where people can or can't or whatever can find you on the internet. Is there a website or an Instagram?
But really, at this, I took my website off with the idea of redoing it during
Pandemic.
COVID.
Sure.
And I haven't,
didn't.
well, there's been so many family health issues in the last 4 years, 5 years, that most of my life has been wrapped around that. I had to get on the road so I could actually make some money again, but very soon we'll be facing issues at home that will not have a good outcome. It's a matter of trying to make sure people are having the best life they can. And boy, they did a hell of a lot for me for a lot of years, so how do I?
Good for you. Good for
get
you.
back?
Well, look for him. You'll see him at a Ren Fair as Thom Bedlam.
THOM, Thomas without the ass. And Thom Bedlam, you can find me on Facebook.
Well, there you go. There
indeed,
you go. That's what you
Facebook,
should have
I'm on
said.
there.
I'm sure there's a graphic on the screen right now. And you want to let people know where they're going to conceal for the rest of this particular Ren Fair season. You mentioned a 5-week gig after this
I'm
one.
5
One more
weeks.
week here at the Florida Fair.
1 week here at Fluff, and then I'm off at Avalon in Texas, just outside of Kilgore, for 5 weekends. And then it's odds and sods things. I do a steampunk festival in Hannibal, Missouri.
Wow. Same character?
No, well, I'll actually do 2. I do a snake oil pitchman
Oh, fun.
that sort of deals with selling black holes and things like that as well. You know,
Selling black holes.
Yeah, it's much more psi magic.
I gotcha.
It's yeah.
All right, so if you get a chance, check out my friend Thom Bedlam here. Very talented. According to him, one of the best cups and balls magicians in the world. But
I'm sure there will be fights about that, but I used to wrestle alligators.
So he could probably take you on. So look right down this lens here, Tom, and say goodbye to the people any way you want to.
It's a pleasure. Have an amazing day.
All right, bye, everybody.